Hi friends, this is Anthony here in Miami Beach. It's about 3:45. I got up around 2 in the morning, did some cleansing, detox, yoga, working out. This is like the quietest time where I live here on 71st Street in Miami Beach. Um, I can't explain it. It seems like we've all allowed and compromised our own benefit of peace. And yes, I've heard it before, like, oh, you live in the city right now. You have to accept and agree to live in noise and noise pollution and air pollution, water pollution, all these things that exist. No, I've never agreed to this. I don't think anybody who's born and lives agrees to be polluted and attacked. And that's exactly what it is. I've allowed myself to be attacked in so many ways. I'm not screaming victim. Definitely taking responsibility and power over the situation. Small steps at a time. One of the steps being fasting, cleansing, detox, yoga, working out, running. So this video is going to be about something recently. It's about something I've seen recently regarding the hashtag of end the slaughterhouses with the vegan community. And as much as I am all about solidarity and I agree with, we should end the idea of hurting others for no benefit whatsoever except the sadistic pleasure we've been conditioned to accept, I have found in my experience that it's a lot less with the fashion of veganism. And right now, this is what it's become. It's become a fashion trend. There was just a vegan event held by PETA. I saw, Sir Paul McCartney. They call him Sir Paul McCartney, and he's a very famous Beatle and so forth, musician. Has a lot of wonderful things to say regarding animal rights and abuse and so forth. Not a vegan. By vegan, understandably and respectfully, whatever word you want to use, still consumes dairy, milk, in other words, eggs, and bodily secretions of animals. Basically still animal exploitation. And what I've learned is that as long as I continue consuming substances, products, whatever it is, that's at the expense of the lives of others, that does take away from their rights to live in freedom, live in peace, live in free from harm. So why I'm not necessarily against the idea of using fasting. What I am against is associating something, a sacrifice, associating something negative, a burden, to something that should be so wonderful. Fasting, or at least the withdrawal of solid substances, mostly, of course there's liquid fast and so forth, water fasting, dry fasting, whatever word you want to call it, just simply means the withdrawal of putting things in our mouth for that moment. And I've found that my body has healed, has recovered, has not only that, but it elevated in so many ways, restoring itself to possibly its most natural form, heightening the senses, clearing the mind, releasing energy that I never knew I had. I mean, come on, I sleep 11 to 2 in the morning. I outperform myself in many aspects of my life. When I first learned about this back in 2004, it's 2015 right now. It's 11 years, going on 12 years that I've practiced, I've learned, I've lived, and the greatest achievements I've had in my life has been from simply putting a stop to putting things in my body that didn't need to be there. So what I'm asking you, if you'd like to consider this, is perhaps not fasting, perhaps changing lifestyles. Just give it for a day, 2 days. Decide if you can live without certain things. Make that decision. I understand a lot of us enjoy cooked foods, processed foods, as vegans, even those that don't consider themselves vegans. The impact, the effect we have by withdrawing from conditioned senses, conditioned urges, our obsession with numbing ourselves, I mean, that impact really should be personal. It's a personal journey to find yourself, really. You are not what you put in your mouth. I mean, think about how crazy that is. We think that we put something in our mouth, it transforms into our body. You know, I eat carrot, eat an apple or whatever, and it becomes my blood, becomes my skin cells, my breaks down and then reconfigures itself to be something I can use. I've been obsessed with putting things in my mouth since I was a baby. You know, obviously whenever we cried, you know, our parental figure shoved something in our mouth, you know, as a reaction. Oh, this will shut him up. This will shut her up. You know, and then we form an oral fixation. You know, you have a child, and the child cries and demands your attention. Give your child attention. It's very simple. You know, and if you feel that you can't give your child attention, find a way to keep them occupied or help them learn to be occupied. You know, go for a walk, go for a run. How much do you own yourself? Every time I put something in my mouth, I'm making an agreement that this thing that I put in my mouth is what keeps me alive. It's what nourishes me. It's what drives me. It's what motivates me. I mean, I have to think about that. I mean, this video was about fasting regarding associating it with it, you know, with a movement, with an ideology. Why? Fasting, or at least withdrawal of that, can lead to greater health. And I'm not saying that if you've eaten some if you're very toxic, if you're very sick, stop eating. You know, that in itself, your body will start, you know, your body will do what it needs to do. And if it starts releasing very fast, very suddenly, especially after all the things we put in our body that are very powerful. I mean, I watched an advertisement for a pharmaceutical, a medicine, and you'll see that there's so many agreements when you take this medicine regarding compromising your health. Find the definition of cancer. I have. Look under the CDC's, you know, Center for Disease Control's, their definition. Look at the United Nations, the World Health Organization. Look at Johns Hopkins. Look at different medical resources and find out what their definition, and you'll see that the majority that I found, at least, was that it's a collection of diseases, a collection of symptoms. You don't find the cause, you don't find a cure in the definition. So where did it come from? You know, how to remove it or how to change that state. I mean, you get these definitions. What happens is we get stuck with language. Language becomes our form of mind control and controlling of others. Yoga, health coach, fitness, food, you know, life, you know, nutrition. These words have been used to manipulate you. That's just what it is. The title vegan, I mean, it applies to anybody now and applies to anything. And Donald Watson is the first person who apparently coined that term. You know, if you think about it, it's kind of strange that there's a group of people that accept a term for not causing harm to others. That's a very, or at least people that are trying to restrain for as much harm they can cause others and to themselves. If you think about it, I mean, you're an animal. The body is an animal. So take back the language. Be mindful of the language you use. If you have diabetes, multiple sclerosis, cancer, whatever it is, arthritis, whatever symptom, disease, it's a word. And if the person or the definition doesn't come with, hey, this is what it's caused by, this is how to remove it, or, you know, exactly, then the person who created this condition is as much misleading as the disease, apparently. You know, because there is no cancer bacteria, there's no cancer virus, there's no cancer thing, and you just, you know, remove that thing and you get better. It's a collection of symptoms, collection of diseases. What does that mean? It means you have to take a look at yourself. How am I toxic? How could I be toxic? Because if you follow along with some of my videos or with your own observation, you'll see that as you become toxic, you become deficient. Just like if you have an empty glass and you fill that glass up with whatever substance you want in there, and now try to put something of nourishment value. Fill that glass up with Kool-Aid. Now try to put some fresh squeezed orange juice in there as an example. I'm not saying one's this and that, but you're going to get a lot less orange juice in that glass of Kool-Aid or chlorine bleach. You know, would you drink a glass let's say 3/4 full of chlorine bleach and 1/4 of orange juice? Probably not. And yet, throughout the day, you take showers, you wash your hands, you drink water, you eat food prepared in water that's got a tremendous amount of chlorine, fluoride, maybe mercury, maybe lead, arsenic, so many chemicals in there, and they're going to react with each other. So I'm not, jumping around making a lot of noise. I'm trying to be respectful to neighbors and so forth where I'm at this moment. But I want you to be respectful to yourself. You don't have to take what I say as I'm being honest. Anthony is being honest with me, or that I speak the truth. I don't even care for that. I want you to observe yourself, make the decisions yourself. If you're fasting today, I applaud you for taking the step to not put things in your mouth that are going to cause some sort of injury to someone else. But be mindful, if you're coming from eating a lot of cooked foods or a lot of processed foods, there's going to be effects, and you may associate those effects to not eating. Oh my gosh, I'm suffering. Take that away. You're not suffering. Be active. Why not be active? Be active to end the cause. I mean, what kind of, there's nothing wrong with being active. And associate it with something positive. You deserve that. You deserve to associate something positive to an action you're going to take. And don't think, I'm going to stop eating to change the world. You will. You're changing your world physically, physiology in many ways, biologically. But like Iram Sharmala, she's the Iron Lady of Manipur. She's been fasting for about 15 years, hunger strike or whatever. Being a speaker, being this and that, she's obviously made some changes in her life, and for those around her, that's wonderful. I applaud that. But encourage others by being an example. I see so many people protesting and yelling and screaming who are not the best examples of better fitness, health, vitality. And so it's very hard for someone like that to motivate someone. Myself, when I changed my life, I lost about 90 pounds. I didn't have really anybody to look up to. Nobody. I didn't know what to think about it. I took a lot of different weight losers and fast, pills and so forth. But when I take charge of myself, took power back, took the responsibility, took the blame back, I was able to change my life, and hopefully, since that, I've actually been able to change the lives of others. So today, if you are fasting, please be active. Go for a walk, go for a bike ride, whatever. Jump up and down for a little bit. Give yourself the love you deserve. And when you do that, you become the example, and others will also start giving themselves the love they deserve. Love isn't in your mouth, it's in your heart, your mind, your soul.